Hello and welcome to the News Minute. I am Dhanya Rajendran. Joining me today is my colleague from Chennai, Nidarshana Raju. Nidarshana has just published a story on the News Minute. The story's title is TN Government-Sponsored Study Compromises the Safety of POCSO Survivors. It's a very important story that we have published and I would like to speak to Nidarshana about it. But before we go into that, these are very important investigations that we believe in. From the time the News Minute started, rights of children and women have remained our major focus, and this story, of course, falls right into that pattern. Nidarshana, a good story indeed. Can you quickly explain what was the study commissioned by the Tamil Nadu government and how was the safety of the victims compromised?
So the study was commissioned by two departments, one being the Department of Social Defense and the other being the Tamil Nadu State Child Protection Society. So they had together commissioned this study called the Impact Assessment on Victim Compensation that was awarded to POCSO victims. So there's something called victim compensation that is being awarded to POCSO victims. So they wanted to study how that fund has been helpful for the families of the survivors of sexual abuse, child sexual abuse. So that is the study's background.
If there is a child who is a POCSO survivor, the government pays a compensation even while their case is going on. So the Tamil Nadu government decided, let's study if the compensation is reaching out to people, right?
Yes, they wanted to study how much of the money has gone to them. Like there is an interim amount that is first given out, and then the total amount is given once the investigation or trial is reached a certain point. That is how it's usually done. So they wanted to study how this money has helped the victims, if they've been able to, improve their living standards. This is like I'm quoting it from the study. So these are the things that they wanted to study about victim compensation. So they commissioned this study, and for that they have asked, they wanted private players in. They wanted third parties to come in and to do the study, for which VIT seems to have, that is Vellore Institute of Technology in Chennai, have been one of the institutes that came forward to do this study. So they come into the picture and they send, there are these terms of references that the government is approving, and then VIT comes into picture to do the study. So that is how the study has been awarded to a third party, which is VIT in Chennai.
Okay, so basically the government wants to do a study instead of doing it itself, and that too it involves really sensitive data, right? You're talking about POCSO victims, about child sexual assault or sexual abuse victims whose details are not supposed to be published anywhere. Like even court judgments do not have details about these children. The media is not supposed to report about them. Even in social media, you're not supposed to put pictures. Even if, let us say that you are feeling really outraged about a rape on a child or assault on a child, you still cannot tweet or put on Facebook the picture of this child. So despite the sensitivity of this whole project, they hand it over to a college. What does a college do, Nidarshana?
So what the college has done is, in VIT Chennai, it has been particularly given to this researcher called as V. Vijay Lakshmi. She heads one of the departments in VIT. It's been given to her. So what she does is she recruits more people to help her do this study, because the study once again is conducted across Tamil Nadu. They wanted to study 100%. The sample size said 100%, which means all districts. And so she starts recruiting more people, more students and fresh graduates to do this project on behalf of her. So what she tells them, it's funny how she recruited them. She recruited them by forwarding messages on WhatsApp, asking people who are interested to do a study like this, to go to field and investigate, to respond to her. She gives her phone number, and a lot of students, mainly, master students pursuing their masters in universities across Tamil Nadu, students are just gotten out of college. All this happens in May this year.
So let me just pause you there. If the audience did not clearly understand, I mean, this is outrageous, right? First thing, the government wants to study, it outsources that to a college. The college researcher who's in charge of the project puts invites on WhatsApp groups telling students, hey, look, there's a study on POCSO victims, come and apply. And then a lot of students apply, and then they are told in how many districts was the study done, Nidarshana?
That is something that they are not disclosing, but when it says 100% sample size, then we come to understand that it's happening across the state. So basically, there was a very interesting data set also that's come out in November this year. So the minister Geeta Jeevan, she gave a data saying that 4,300 people, victims of POCSO, have been given compensation between 2021 and 2024 alone. So that itself is a very big number, and that involves people from across Tamil Nadu, from across districts. So the question of 100% sample size puts this number right there, because just 4 years has 4,300 people. So if they're saying
again interrupting Nidarshana, just to put the story in context for all of you. Now we've established that the college recruited, the researcher recruited people through WhatsApp. But Nidarshana, through her investigation, found very shocking details about what happened after the recruitment. So let's say I'm a student and I've agreed to be part of this study. I am given data to go to the field and investigate. What is the kind of data about POCSO victims which was given to these students, Nidarshana?
These students were basically asked to go to the district collectors. In the collector office, it's the DCPO, who's the District Child Protection Officer. So they're asked to go to the DCPOs and to collect hard copies of data which has names of POCSO victims. It has their age, their addresses, their contact numbers, their parents or their guardians' names, their addresses. It has all possibilities. Their case numbers, their court proceeding numbers. Everything has been given in black and white to these people, to these students, and then they're asked to go and visit these addresses. The students, each student is supposed to go to each victim's house, go to that particular address, ask them the questions from the questionnaire that this Vijay Lakshmi has prepared, and then they're supposed to submit a report, which again has to be sent on WhatsApp.
So imagine the callousness of this entire procedure, right? First, you're recruiting students through WhatsApp. The hard copies of data is being given to them. And, there is an officer, I think her name is Valarmati Nidarshana?
Yes. Valarmati IAS.
Yes. So Valarmati IAS is the one who's who's actually commissioning the study. And these students are going to every district headquarters and getting the data. So imagine there's an entire chain of government officers involved here, and nobody is crying wolf. Nobody is saying, look, stop, this is wrong. We cannot hand over such data to the students. And let me tell you.
In fact, it's also, there's also money involved. There's also 5.95 lakhs that the government has given out for the study to be carried out by VIT Chennai.
Okay. So, and to all the people watching, Nidarshana is a young reporter who actually investigated this. And I used the word shocking, I think, twice already, but let me use it again. The one more shocking part of the story was that she finished her entire investigation. She spoke to 2 or 3 students who were part of the survey. They showed her how the data was collected. In fact, do go to the News Minute site and read that story for sure. And then Nidarshana goes back to the Social Defense Department and asks them, what is happening? Like, why was this done? So till November 18th, when Nidarshana goes to the department, the students have not been told to even give back the data that they have. They all had it with them, right, Nidarshana?
Yes. So basically, the students get this information to stop their investigation around July. This is happening around July 30th, which is when suddenly from the department, they've realized that there is a concern. There are concerns of privacy. That is again 1.5 years after they commissioned the study, right? So then they suddenly have this realization that, oh, this is of serious concern. We cannot give out such details to a third party, and they stop the study. And so this Vijay Lakshmi from VIT has sent messages to all of the students, to the graduates who she had recruited, asking them to stop. But the worst part is that none of them were asked to give back any of the data. She took all the reports that they had submitted. Some of them had not even been paid. Basically, that's exploitation again. So the students have also been exploited. They were not sensitized. They were not told that how sensitive they have to be when they report, how the interview should be trauma informed, because so many of the questions that they were asking were pointed towards the child survivors. So they have to be trauma informed. The interviewing process has to be very, very, it has to be practiced, it has to be taught. So none of them were given any such training. And then they're asked to do all of this, and then abruptly it stopped. They're not paid. And then after I go and speak to one of the people in the department, then they get information again from Vijay Lakshmi, because the department has now put a lot of pressure on her, asking because there's also one more interesting thing. Vijay Lakshmi hasn't told the department that she has given out such details, because what the department head tells us is that she did not know that so much has happened. So when all of this is happened, then the pressure goes to Vijay Lakshmi, and she puts further pressure on the students, telling them that she'll file FIRs if she finds out that any of this data has been used, and then asks them to just send an email saying that, no, I've maintained confidentiality, I've not used this anywhere else.
So the question of Tamil Nadu department is that in July, yes, this project was cancelled by the new officer who took charge. But what happens to Valarmati IAS? Are you going to take action against Valarmati IAS? Will you have some policy of not giving out such sensitive data to people? Congrats, Nidarshana, again for your investigation. As someone who did the investigation, how do you feel? Because often this is your second year in journalism, right? Often when people
Yes.
come join journalism, they are told that this is not the right industry to be in. But when you see the results of an investigation like this, people telling that it's very important, how do you then look back at the work that you did?
It's actually very mixed because such cases also, throughout the time that I was reporting, I had this chill, right? Like there were so many chills because, barring the excitement of publishing a story or an investigation, there's also this anger, right? There's so much that's happening inside of me because it's so scary to think that so much of data has gone out. So I think I've been in very mixed emotions, but I think it's also an important story that needs to be told. So I think young journalists coming in should remember that there are so many important stories like this, and it doesn't always necessarily have to be big, but every small thing we find somewhere sort of connects, and there's some sort of satisfaction, I think, that comes out of reporting such stories.
So Nidarshana has done a couple of other stories to do with children's safety. Do check out her byline on the News Minute, and she's doing one more. I think it probably will be published the next week. So do read the story, do read our other investigations, and remember, we are a completely ad-free, sponsor-free platform. If you want, I can bring in a business person here and have a meeting, take a lot of money and run the website, and then not tell you that I have taken that money from that person. But we don't want to do that. We want to be dependent on our readers. We do have other streams of revenue. We publish sometimes certain articles from hospitals, but we tell you very clearly that this is published in association. It's an advertisement. So do contribute to the News Minute. We have a studio fund. We've already built a small studio, but we want to make it bigger. We have a reporting fund, which you can fund reporters like Nidarshana, which allows them to travel, report, etc. Thank you very much for joining us. Till the next story on the News Minute.